Welcome to the ANOKHI Uncensored Show. I'm your host, Hina, and I'm thrilled to have Kehkashan Basu of the Green Hope Foundation as my special guest. Thank you, Kehkashan, for agreeing to be a part of the ANOKHI Advocate list.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Of course, and as you know, this is to commemorate our 19th anniversary of ANOKHI. So I'm really thrilled that you're here to share this with us, and let's get started with our questions.
Absolutely.
So the first one is, tell me, what does advocacy mean to you?
For me, advocacy is all about action and kind of getting in touch with your inner core that and your conscience that kind of inspires you and allows you to, go out there and make a difference. So for me, advocacy is all about that and turning that inner voice into action and meaningful action.
And why is advocacy important to you?
Well, I think that as moral, responsible, empathetic global citizens, advocacy is just something that should come naturally. And for me, it's something I have seen growing up in my parents and my grandparents, where it's just really important for us to give back to the planet and give back to the community with everything that we do. So I think that just advocacy in general is just important for everyone because it shows that we are empathetic, responsible global citizens.
And what is your personal advocate philosophy?
Well, I think that if you are passionate, empathetic, honest, hardworking, and optimistic, I think those 5 qualities are, have worked very well in my favor and for my advocacy all throughout. So I guess I'd say that's my advocate philosophy.
And how does what you believe in translate over into the Green Hope Foundation?
Well, at Green Hope Foundation, we are all about using empathy as the tool to inspire other children, other young people, other women, other people around the world to really take actions in their own zones of influence. And, we're all about just that hard work, honest hard work on the ground. And we're really passionate people. And we have a very optimistic view towards addressing our world's greatest challenges. So yeah, for us, it is, everything that we do, it's those 5 qualities that I mentioned, it's just imbued in that. And we work in some of them we work to address some of the world's most pressing challenges in some of the world's most vulnerable communities. So for us, having that hard work and that sense of hope is really, really important to keep going. And that is what we do every day, whether that is providing clean water to communities or electricity to communities or regenerating mangrove ecosystems. It is, we work hard and we have hope for a better future.
Now, how did the addressing the world's challenges, as you've noted, and working towards, as your organization states, creating a just, equitable, peaceful, and a nuclear weapons-free world become so important to you?
Well, I started out my journey when I saw the image of a dead bird whose belly was full of plastic. I was 7 then. And as I mentioned earlier, that I grew up seeing my parents and grandparents give back to the community and the planet. So that was really the image of the dead bird was really a wake-up call for me that, this wasn't normal for everyone else. And then when I heard Robert Swann's lecture, and he said the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it, that inspired me to plant my first tree on my 8th birthday, and that's World Environment Day. So I thought I was preordained to become an eco-warrior. And I continued working on the ground, and then Green Hope Foundation came about because I realized after attending the largest sustainable development conference of the time at 12, where I was also the youngest, I realized there's a severe lack of inclusivity of children in the sustainable development process. And then slowly and steadily, while I'd been working on the ground for the 5 years before I started Green Hope Foundation, I got to know about all of our world's greatest challenges and how unequal our world really was and how horribly we were treating each other as well as our planet. And that included through weapons of mass destruction like nuclear weapons, that included learning more about gender inequalities that are still present around the world. And then when I saw that severe amount of lack of inclusivity of children in that the sustainable development process, and I realized that I had the option of using my expertise on the ground to inspire other children like me at the time to bring about change in their own zones of influence. And then slowly and steadily, we kind of expanded to really cover all topics of sustainability and sustainable development, ranging from health to nuclear weapons to peace and justice to environmental conservation.
That's amazing. Wow. Now, can you share with me and our audience why it's so important for people to incorporate a sense of advocacy into their lives? It could be personal, professional, spiritual, whatever you feel.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, just as responsible global citizens, I think it's that moral imperative that we all have to incorporate advocacy into our daily lives. And it's kind of just asking yourself, like, what have I done to help my community, help my planet? And then your conscience will give you that answer. So I think that just being on this planet, that's our responsibility to give back to the planet and give back to the community. And, that can stem, as you said, from any place. I mean, for me, it stems from every aspect of my life, whether that's spiritual or personal or professional. But yeah, it really depends on every person, whether they find that in their faith or whether they've seen that in their line of work and want to do something to make the situation better. It really differs for people, but at the end of the day, that empathy really should be that common thing that really brings us all together and allows us to give back to our planet and community.
Great. Now, let's talk about how important advocacy has been in the last year. What have you seen that has stood out, and how our world is changing to meet people where they're at rather than conditioning of fitting into preconceived ideologies?
Yeah, of course, we've had the pandemic in the past year and a half, and I think that has really, exposed our inequalities and exacerbated inequalities as well, specifically in our world's most vulnerable countries and communities. I think that the pandemic has brought forward a new spirit of multilateralism, where it's all about creating a new normal. And I always say, building forward equal instead of building back better, because we need to create that new normal. And I think that a lot of countries are working to progress towards that new normal, which I think is a really positive sign. And it bodes well for action and advocacy for solving our other great challenges as well, because it shows us that, yes, we've had COVID, and COVID has shown us what the mistakes of the past were. And now it's time for us to really learn from that and then rebuild better into the future. And I think that, obviously there is a lot more that needs to be done, but there has been a lot of positive collaboration amongst nations, amongst people, and just addressing challenges on the ground. And at Green Hope Foundation, that is what we've tried to do in terms of ensuring that we are providing relief to communities that are impacted by COVID, by climate change, by biodiversity loss, by inequalities, all of that, just creating a really unstable environment. But for us, it was our duty to just step up in this time of need and provide relief to those communities. And as I was saying earlier, whether that was providing clean water or providing electricity or continuing to provide literacy, that is something that we realized that with the digital divide and with everything else going on with COVID and all of that, women and girls were affected severely by this. And we continue to provide education through our solar-powered mobile libraries. So yeah, I think a lot of people did step up. And I think that I hope really that translates into action for solving our other world's challenges too.
Now, along with advocacy comes slacktivism, slacktivism being the notion that by creating or tweeting a hashtag is also effective, giving the person the idea that they're contributing to the cause by sharing a hashtag. In your view, what are the pros and cons of slacktivism?
I think in the pro side, I think social media is a wonderful way of reaching out to people. And now that most of our world is connected in that way, I think it does have that positive notion that, okay, you can spread the message, but I definitely think that's not enough. Like, you need ground level action. As someone who works on the ground, I definitely see the need for that. And I think there are a lot of young people who think that, being on social media and just tweeting it out with that hashtag is enough. And I think that, that's really not enough, because just speaking as a young person, we have a responsibility as well to turn that activism online to actions on the ground. And it really goes for everyone as well. So yes, it's a great way to spread the message, but you need actions on the ground. You can't substitute this actions on the ground with Slacktivism. And I also mentioned earlier, we had the digital divide, and I think COVID has just amplified that. So there are a lot of people around the world who still don't have access to technology. So, you wouldn't be able to reach out to them with just a hashtag. And that's where more action needs to come in. And I think, you really need to come at it from all angles, from actions on the ground, and, spreading the message through social media, having dialogues. But yeah, actions on the ground, that's the most important thing, the implementation and action.
Now, what challenges have you had to overcome when it comes to voicing your support for a cause that you believe in?
I faced a lot of challenges, especially as a young girl entering this field. I've been a victim of cyberbullying. I've faced stalking, death threats, threats of physical abuse. And for me, it was something that I realized very early on, that if you're doing good work, there are always going to be naysayers. And I just have to choose between my fear of these horrible people and my passion for my work, and my passion for and love for my work always wins. So yeah, for me it was, and we still face that, for me. And I think that that's why at Green Hope Foundation, we're so dedicated to creating safe spaces for everyone, no matter who they are, and just allowing them to follow their dream, with just having the freedom to follow their dream.
Have you had to challenge your South Asian community when it comes to advocating your cause?
Well, to answer that question, I think I'll go a bit more from the perspective of our work on the ground in South Asia. And I think that, we work a lot extensively in South Asia. And I think that in some of the communities that are more conservative, yes, I think when we're working towards empowerment of women and girls, or addressing some of the most pressing challenges on the ground, there definitely we've had challenges. And we always say that, when we're working with more conservative communities, and this is not just limited to South Asia, but really all around the world, it requires patience and understanding that, it's a gradual process. You can't create change just like that. You need the time and the education of everyone, really. So for us, yes, we've faced those challenges, but we work at it every single day. And, it's just about keeping at it, not giving up, and seeing the gradual change over the years, which I think is a real positive.
Great. And finally, with all that you've seen and experienced, what advice would you give to everyone watching, listening, and reading this, who want to be more proactive in a cause that they believe in, to actually get up and action it?
Well, I think that my advice is every single person has a change maker within them. So, just tap into that potential and step out of your comfort zone and act. And most importantly, I'd say follow your own path of success. I think we were talking earlier about Slacktivism and like the online presence. And I think it's really easy for people to see someone else doing something and saying that, oh my God, I can't do that because I can't be that person. But follow your own dreams, follow your own path of success, and redefine what success means to you. And I think that is the most effective way for you to become a change maker in your own right and take actions in your own zone of influence.
I love that. Redefine what success means to you. That is so important. Thank you, Kehkashan, for sharing your perspective with our global audience. And congratulations again for being part of the ANOKHI Advocate List.
Thank you so much.